Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Knuppe Ranch. So this morning I'm feeding the calves and Dad is running out across the creek and he's gonna go set out bales for the cows. So I'm just gonna get the bobcat started here and let it warm up for a couple minutes. Then I'll head down and start feeding them calves. So these heifers, they're not 100% used to me being around them yet. I'm sure they're pretty used to Dad by now, but since Dad spends a little more time around them, then they're more used to him than they are to me. So they still get kind of spooky when I step in the pen to come over here and start their water. So I gotta walk pretty slow around them just to make sure they ain't gonna spook too bad. So I'm sure you guys could see in the video when I was feeding in the bobcat that there's a heifer calf that's out. She's on the outside of the bunk just eating out there. She's not gonna go anywhere. She'll probably just stay right there and eat with these other calves. So I think I'm just going to wait, and instead of making a big mess trying to get her in myself, I think I'm just gonna wait until Dad's back from feeding the cows and setting out bales, because I don't want to spook the rest of these calves through a fence or something. So I'm just gonna leave her be for now, because she's not gonna go anywhere. She's just gonna sit right there and eat with these other ones. So I haven't had to break ice for a couple weeks. It's been pretty nice, but this morning there's like a little tiny thin layer, like a 1/4 inch ice on the water tanks, but so I don't really have to break it. The water will thaw it out, but can't really say that for every winter, that there's a stretch from January into February where for 2 weeks you don't have to break any water on the water tanks, or break any ice on the water tanks. That's pretty awesome. So I just finished feeding the calves, and so now I'm going to go down and check their waters quick. That middle pen I put the water on pretty fast because that tank was almost full, so I was just gonna top it off. So I'm gonna go see if that's topped off, and then I'm gonna head across the creek. Dad's out across the creek setting out bales. He's setting out like 2 weeks worth of bales out there. So I'm gonna head out there and I'm gonna get some drone footage for you guys. So then hopefully you can kind of see the little, they're kind of like mini crop circles that the hay bales, that the bale grazing kind of creates. So hopefully you guys can see that pretty good from the air today. So I'm gonna head out there and do that. All right, well Dad told me to use this creek crossing. Let's see if we get stuck. A little snow ain't no match for the Duramax. All right, well, so I wanted to ask Dad, what, when and kind of why did we first start getting into doing bale grazing with our cows instead of, you know, doing the conventional kind of feeding and rolling out bales kind of every day for our cattle, for our cows anyway. So I guess why did we get into it anyway?
Okay, yeah, so I mean, it wasn't something that we really planned. Probably the first year that we did it, we had, like, our loader tractor was broke down. We had to get the injector pump rebuilt or something, and it was down for a few weeks. So we just had a tractor with a bale fork, and we went out and set out a bunch of bales, and then, you know, we'd use some electric fences and different things then while the tractor was broke down. But kind of found out that it was kind of worked good, it's kind of easy. And then just kind of went from there, and then kind of started learning more about it, more about the kind of the benefits of the soil and stuff, and then kind of started seeing some of those benefits from doing it. So probably the biggest thing was a time factor. The cows are across the creek, and to go across the creek every day, and sometimes the ice, it's hard getting across the ice. So we started just going out, you know, once every 2 weeks, set bales out, try to do it when the weather's nice. So just a kind of a time and fuel saver, but then now we are seeing the benefits in the soil and where we set those bales, and the, you know, the grass is better in those places. There's a lot of nutrients that get put out by doing that, I guess.
Just from the impact of all the manure and urine being concentrated in one small area instead of spread out evenly across. Being concentrated in that one area kind of makes, well, Alan Williams is, I think, what we heard. Dad and I went to Baker, Montana. What was it for? Was it a soil health conference?
Yeah, something like that, just a conference thing.
And Alan Williams talked there, and if you guys don't know who he is, check him out. He's pretty interesting. And he was talking about bale grazing, and I believe it was him, wasn't it?
I don't know.
He was talking about how it creates biological hotspots, is what he calls it. Anyway, is kind of the scientific term for it, I guess, if you want to call it that. For them, where the bales are sitting, is them circles, is called biological hotspot. And then that's what all the nutrients there, and then it can be slowly spread, you know, into the surrounding stuff around those circles. But other than bale grazing, Dad and I have kind of decided that not this winter, but next winter, we're going to kind of get into doing kind of what we do in the summertime. We're going to start doing our rotational grazing and our daily moves in the wintertime. So can you kind of explain why we're kind of missing out by not doing that in the wintertime and just doing it in the summertime?
So we have no experience with it. We've always just done the daily moves and stuff in the summertime because that was kind of the growing season, and we thought that was the time to do it. But we just was at a conference, listened to a guy speak who does it in the winter, and just you see all of the same benefits. You can ration things out, you can spread out, make the grass last longer, but then also he was seeing the improvements in, the animal days per acre and stuff through the winter too, by concentrating manure and moving the cattle more and all that stuff too. So grazing in the wintertime is, feeding hay is the biggest expense. So if you can, every day that you don't have to feed hay, if I can extend that out, that's money in our pocket. So that's something that we really, think we really need to look into, and we're gonna probably try to do some more of that next winter, I think. So
yeah, so that's kind of our future plans and goals anyway, is we kind of want eventually, one of our goals down the road, would you say it's kind of a 5-year goal? We're trying to get away from feeding hay. We're trying to eliminate hay in general, just because it's of the added expense of it. And I know a lot of people think that you kind of have to feed hay, and there are certain times where we do have to feed hay during the winter time. But I mean, winters like this, where we've had a 2-week stretch where it's warm, and we're feeding hay, and we really don't need to be. If we could ration our grass out, and we could see better impacts, and if we grow more grass on our winter grazing stuff here at home, we could be saving a ton of money by not starting a tractor at all in the wintertime, not feeding the calves, not taking the time to feed the cows, and just not even having hay around. So that's kind of one of our end goals, is to get to the point where we don't even need to really feed hay at all during the wintertime. But obviously we'll always have some around in those bad times, bad blizzards, and when it gets really cold and stuff. But we want to get to the point where we can hold more cattle at home and really be able to graze all winter long. So that's kind of our future goals. So I just wanted, Dad's better about more of the logistics stuff and talking, he kind of understands it better than I do. So I wanted Dad to kind of touch on it a little bit. I know I've explained it some, but I wanted Dad to kind of explain it a little better because he sees it in a different point of view than I do, and he kind of understands it a little better. So okay, so I've just got one more thing to weld on my pig pen here in the shop, and then I'm gonna pull it out and get it out of here so we can get another project in. So the last thing I'm gonna weld, I'm just gonna bend a little, kind of like that shape, like that. Man, it feels like I'm on Disney Channel. Ooh. Anyway, I'm gonna weld that shape thing, whatever you want to call it, like a U, and then I'm gonna weld it to the front of this pen so that it'll be easier. We can just hook a chain on it and pull it, and then that'll be what we use to hook a chain on it and pull it when we are actually moving around pigs in it too. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna get this thing pulled out of the shop here. So I think we might be pulling in that pickup and start working on that flatbed, and then I've got to make some panels, some small panels for pigs too. So we'll be working on those also, but I don't need much room to work on them little panels. So hopefully we can kind of get some stuff cleaned out, and we can back that pickup up mostly on the concrete here, so we could get a creeper under there if we need to, because we got to work on the fuel system as well. So yeah, we'll get to working on that here. Alright guys, with that, I think that's just about gonna do it for this video. So thanks for watching. Remember to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And as always, we'll catch you in the next one.